Hello and welcome back to my channel. This is week 12, so this is the last week of my 12-week photo challenge series here on YouTube, which means that this is the last Mindset Monday video. And for this last video, I wanted to continue a little bit along the lines of last week's video where I gave you some tips on how to transition from hobby to pro. So when you want to make your creative passion into a job. For this video, I wanted to talk about something that I think quite a lot of us struggle with. I know for sure that I at least have struggled with this a lot, which is to promote your own work. How much time do you spend taking photos, creating videos, or writing blog posts, or making your art, and how much time do you actually spend promoting it or sharing it with the world and telling people about it? My guess is that most of your time goes to creating the work and not that much time goes to marketing it and promoting it. And I at least feel very icky and almost grossed out with words like self-promotion, or the thought of having to sell something can bring up all kinds of uncomfortable emotions. Now, you might be struggling with thoughts like, if I promote my stuff, people will think I'm annoying, or that if I just keep creating my stuff, somebody will notice me and they will notice how good it is and I don't have to promote it. But I want to make this video and share some thoughts and some ways where you could promote your work where it won't feel so icky, or that it won't make you feel grossed out, or that you're somehow being a sellout, because that's not at all the case. Obviously, the world deserves to know what you created and you should share it proudly and confidently. That is, after all, why we do all this stuff, so that we can share it and that somebody might enjoy it and find real value in it. The first tip is to create a story around it. So one way to make sure that your followers or audience will still get value of whatever it is that you're promoting or sharing is to create a story around it. So you could make it something where you invite people into that thing, maybe sharing some story around it, something behind the scenes, or just giving some context so people can relate and connect with it. So one example is when I designed my own merch and did this design for t-shirts, I would, even before they were even possible to buy, make stories and share the behind the scenes process of how I was drawing and designing these sketches, so that I got really people engaged in it, and also that they felt, or you felt, that you were part of the process. So it became a story. So then when I launched the collection and they were ready and people could buy them, there was already this story around it and this connection, and I think people felt a part of the journey, so people were really excited about it. The second tip is to provide lots of free value and occasionally sprinkle it with an offer. Depending on what platforms you're sharing your work, I'd recommend to provide lots of free value. So be that in the form of entertainment or education or inspiration, how-to videos, tips, and maybe some hacks that you know about that you want to share. So a good way is to provide lots of this value for free, so people really get to know you and trust you. And then when you have something you want to offer, or you want to market, or you want your audience to maybe buy something or do something specific, there is already a lot of that goodwill and you've provided lots of free value for them. So then they won't feel like, oh, this person is just a sellout, when you then have your own product that you want to market, or maybe you have a shop, or you've created some Etsy jewelry or whatever it might be, maybe an ebook. So then you already have provided and established that trust and relationship with your audience. So then when you have that little offer that you can sprinkle in, it feels very organic and seamless. Tip number 3, create content you would have shared anyways. This is one of the mistakes I did in the beginning of my influencer journey. So when I would get a brief and a company or a brand wanted me to do a collaboration with them, and then I had to create a photo with that product in, I would often go into the trap of then starting to experiment with weird styles and actually concept ideas that didn't really feel like my own and that didn't really fit into my style. And the reason that this happened was usually because maybe the product was something that was very different from my usual style, and I would really think about, what can I create around this product that fits that product, instead of thinking of how can I take this product and make it fit into my aesthetic style and visual world. So my tip is to create content that you would have shared anyways if you do brand collaborations, so that you don't get too thrown off when you then suddenly maybe are promoting a product that maybe represents a little bit of a different style, to not adapt too much to that product, but make the product adapt to your thing. Or similarly, if it's some editing software tool that you have to promote, then not suddenly do something that is completely out of your style and think like, oh no, I have to edit so much suddenly because I'm promoting this editing tool, but actually using it in a way that you would have used it anyways. And now I usually always try to keep a little notebook with all my ideas for photos, for example. So then if I get a collaboration with something and there is something specific, maybe a color or an idea they'd like me to implement, I can go to my notebook, see what ideas I have, and then I can work around that. And obviously then I can also adapt and change it a little bit, but then I know that it will still be true to my style. Number 4, take the you out of the equation. Now, when we think about self-promotion, our palms can get really sweaty and it can feel really scary and vulnerable because we are so attached to it and we're just thinking about ourselves. But in that moment, I would actually urge you to take yourself out of the equation and instead put the focus on the person on the receiving end, on the other side. Think how much your product or your thing or blog post or tip could help that person who really is searching for this, and how much it could serve them. This is a good way to strip away all that emotional attachment and all the feelings of self-doubt and feeling uncertain and maybe imposter syndrome, thinking, who am I to talk about this or share my experience? But in those moments, you need to get down from your high horses, because actually, in a way, you could also flip that around, and that's sort of an arrogant way of seeing it, because then you are actually taking this piece of knowledge away from that potential person at the other end. At least for me, this has helped a lot sometimes in getting over myself, because I might get really stuck and think my ideas aren't worth anything and this is not good enough and who is gonna even care. But then I try to think instead of the audience and you on the other side, that maybe something that I am saying, if it even can touch or resonate with one person and help that one person, then it feels like it was worth it and good that I got out of my own way and actually shared it. So that gives me a lot of energy and drives me to keep making these videos, even when I sometimes feel insecure and I'm not an expert on everything, but on the things that I have tried and experienced, I can share that experience and it can provide some value. So take the you out of the equation and focus more on the person that might be searching for exactly this thing that you are sharing and that you have this idea that you are gonna put out in the world. And lastly, it's a muscle that needs to be trained. So with most things, also self-promotion and sharing your work and talking about your work, even if in the beginning it can feel uncomfortable and you almost don't want to do it, trust me when I say it will get easier the more you do it. And if you just stay true to being authentic and really trying to be genuine with what you're putting out there and sharing, and you're really thinking about serving your audience and followers and following what excites you, it will feel less sticky. And sometimes in the beginning, maybe you have to fake it a little bit until you make it. So there is something to be said for just, getting to it, start before you're ready, all these kind of cliches, but they are very true. And then you'll grow into it and you'll find also your own tone of voice and how you want to speak about your work. So sometimes in the beginning especially, I would maybe copy a little bit or take inspiration from some people I admired and how they spoke about their work or what they shared, and then quickly finding that, oh, doesn't really feel like it fits me, or these are not the words that I would use. So then you have to experiment a little bit and try out and see what works best for you, if that's some humor, or if you're very straight to the point, very direct, or if it's actually very eloquent and maybe very has a very specific tone of voice. All those things, the best way to find out those answers is to just try and train that muscle, get those protein shakes in there, and it will get easier, I promise. All right, that is the last Mindset Monday video of this 12-week photo challenge series. So on Thursday, there is still the last photo challenge to do. Make sure you come and check that one out. So excited to share it with you. It's going to be a good one. I hope you found these Mindset Monday videos helpful, and in case you missed some of them, then definitely go and check them out. I will put them all in a playlist here below as well. So there's all kinds of things, some more practical tips when it comes to photography, but also more these mindset ones and getting you into the right headspace, and I'm sharing quite a lot of behind the scenes advice in these, so definitely go and check them out if you missed some of them. On Thursday there's going to be the last photo challenge. Remember again to use the hashtag #KikasphotoChallenge and come and say hi over at Instagram. I'm over at Kika over there. Let me know if you enjoyed these videos and also what you would like to see in the future. I haven't decided yet exactly how many videos I'm gonna be making per week. Probably not gonna be able to keep up with doing 2 videos every week. It's been pretty intense these last 3 months, but definitely once a week or once every 2 weeks. So let me know if there are some other topics you'd like me to cover, and especially maybe also topics around being creative, making a living, going from hobby to business. So let me know in the comments below, and thank you so much for hanging out with me, and I will see you on Thursday again. Bye!
Hello, there's a bee in my bonnet, hello, hello, a bee in my bonnet, hello.